This is Johnny Wrestling, or Johnny Takeover, as my shirt says. And listen, I want you to listen. Like, we're involved right now. It's crazy. It's loud. It's hectic. We're in New York City. But I want you to listen to No Holds Barred Network.
How's it going, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Master's Degree podcast, right here on the No Holds Barred Network, your source for all wrestling podcast content and more. I'm your host of this wonderful podcast on this network, the single podcast that I'm going through in the venture of this network, and that is real self. Oh my god, I can't even talk right now. The self-proclaimed greatest host, Kyle Masters. There, I got it out. But today, I'm not alone, so as you can tell, I'm already in trouble. I'm already, like, botching hard. But that's okay. I have a backup. I have my co-host. She is the wonderful Queen of N.E. What's going on, Queen?
What's up, buddy?
Not much,
How
man.
you doing?
I'm good. Finally, the King Queen has finally happened together.
It's finally happening. We're together. I'm so glad you asked me to come on today. Thank you.
Oh, it's such a pleasure. You can come on whenever you feel like it, girl.
Hooray.
But I'm so happy you're here. We can chat some wrestling, chat some WWE, some Ring of Honor, New Japan, whatever we have on the docket today.
Sounds good, buddy. I'm ready.
All right. So if you guys don't know, this is a brand new podcast I've just started on this network called The Master's Degree. Just giving you guys my analysis and opinions on stuff that's going on, trending stuff going on in the wrestling world, and just a freelance kind of chat, no really set schedule. Just kind of go with the flow, which me and Queen are going to do today. I got a co-host. I'm going to have more co-hosts going on forward, but I had to choose Queen first. This had to be done.
Oh, I'm so honored. I love it. Yes.
Yes, and we've had Queen before. We had her on the All Elite podcast as a guest host before. She was awesome. So we kept her business card in our little drawer here, and called her up again. Have her to come on to the Master's Degree.
Oh, I'm super psyched. You got to make it over to Queen's Court. I tried to have you.
I know.
But your schedule, buddy. But that's all right. It'll happen. I'm not worried.
Schedule sucks. It literally does suck. But I'm on my actually week vacation right now.
Okay.
Yeah, so I've been relaxing. I just got back last night from going to visit some the Fam Jam.
Fam Jam, excellent.
Yep, so back resting more, and then just got the rest of the weekend, and then back to work. Oh, Mondays.
Bummer. But hey, enjoy it while it lasts, buddy.
I will. I want to enjoy it right here on this podcast with you.
Yay! Let's talk some wrestling. I'm so excited.
We'll get into that opening topic, and that is the Big H in the WWE, Triple H. He wants somebody, and why doesn't he? I mean, you're a guy. You're running NXT. NXT's growing by the years, and he's made it into what it is today, and it's one of the top brands in the wrestling industry. And he's got his eyes set on somebody, and it's none other than Kazuchika Okada, of all people. And that is huge. If he was to get his hands on Kazuchika Okada, wow.
Buddy. I mean, monumental.
I mean, it's so tough trying to picture Okada in a WWE ring, because I think that guy is literally New Japan life for sure. Like, he's probably going to sit there forever and go down as one of the greats in New Japan Pro Wrestling. But man, it's crazy to think if he were to come over and wrestle in the WWE. Apparently, Triple H has said it's reported that he's making it his life goal, of all things, to sign Kazuchika Okada when his contract expires. Life goal.
His life goal. That's huge.
It's not like just some indie guy going up, yeah, we could give him a tryout or something, or maybe he could be good in our company. No. He's like determined to get Okada over here. And the Rainmaker is sure to ask for the rain when it comes to a WWE contract. That guy's probably going to ask for like, whatever you're paying Brock, give me triple.
incredible.
Yeah. Right?
I mean, listen, I agree. I think he's going to be New Japan for life. However, what's interesting to think about is the man has such personality, such charisma. I could totally see him in a WrestleMania moment. Like, that is not hard to picture, given his amazing Wrestle Kingdom moments, which for those of you who don't know, that's New Japan's WrestleMania type of thing. Given that, I can see it. Do I want it, though? Not really.
No. Like that's...
I can't say that I'm on board with your life goal,
It's
Triple
tough
H. Not that I'm
because-
trying to make you mad.
Yeah, and we haven't seen a guy like Okada come from Japan and be the top guy that he wants to be currently with New Japan in the WWE. I don't think that's ever going to happen. On NXT, probably. Main roster, absolutely not. Sad to say, that it's not going to happen on Raw or SmackDown. So this is Pro Sports Extra is reporting this, that he's made it his personal mission to sign Kazuchika Okada for a WWE contract when his New Japan deal is up. Triple H is reportedly a fan of Okada, and he's actually been showing his matches to other big ups in the WWE. So that's something else interesting. So he's been digging through the tapes, probably going to like the Omega Okada series matches and saying, we need this guy.
As well he should, because they're phenomenal.
Yeah.
But, I think it's great. You're a fan of Okada, like so am I. That's wonderful, Triple H. I think that's great. You should love him. He's the best wrestler in the world, in my opinion. No, bar none. No one works like Okada does.
Exactly. And when I read this, I'm like, I wonder, did he show this to Vince? Did he show one of these tapes to Vince? I really want to know if he showed one of them to Vince. Because all it says is he showed it to others. I don't know what others means.
I don't know what others means either. I'm going to assume maybe not yet, but maybe eventually. Vince, he's a little busy right now.
Yeah. With everything.
With like everything else.
WrestleMania season, XFL.
Yeah, exactly.
Which has been actually exciting to watch, by the way. I've caught a couple of games and like, okay. It's different.
It's like the NXT of football.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. It's different, it's new, but it's fast-paced and exciting.
And it's sometimes interesting to watch. I kept saying, was it the other day? I kept seeing this clip of this wide receiver lined up on the line. He just like barfed like chunks onto the ground, and then the play went on. Like he barfed, and then I ran my play. I was like, what?
Good golly. It's crazy over there, Kyle. Crazy.
Yeah. So the details on his current contract, Okada's contract length, they're scarce. He's making over $2 million a year currently. This was reported back in 2016. That number has substantial proportion of New Japan's total income. As the years went on, Okada's importance to New Japan Pro Wrestling has only grown. Odds are that it will be very tough sell for Triple H to convince him to leave, to come to the WWE. But like they always say, Queen, in wrestling, you never say never.
Yeah, because you just never know, do you? You never know what might happen.
No. And I can only imagine the matches he'd have over here being insane. Obviously, you can fantasy book so many. It's just, I can't, and I'm going to agree with you, I can't see him coming to the WWE. I cannot. I think he's so loyal to the New Japan brand, and he wants to be one of the greatest of all time over there, and that's so truly respectable. And I don't think New Japan wants to let go of him either. That's another thing. You got to think about it on the other side. New Japan's probably like, we're not letting you go. We're gonna give you whatever the hell you want to stay here, and you're home. Like, you're home.
Yeah, I can't see them letting him go without a serious brawl.
Yeah, it's got to be
fisticuffs. You can't go anywhere. We're gonna lock you in our locker room. For sure.
That's what I mean. I said in the beginning, like, it's got to be like a substantial amount of like scheduling wise, money wise, like so many things have to go into that contract, and at the end of the day, is even worth it for the WWE? So. Just for one guy. I don't know where he'd go
right now. I mean, if it came right now, where would he even go? Like NXT, okay, but they have so much other things going on.
Yeah.
Where are you going to really put him? And then, I mean, he could run roughshod over there for a very long time. And I know that they are really pushing hard to make NXT not just the lower brand, right? They want it equal on a level playing field with the other two brands. But even on Raw or SmackDown right now, it's just not a place for Okada. Maybe in like 6 years, when
at the
he's
end of the road,
nearing 40, that would be a good time.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, no.
No.
And even then, even in 6 years, I'm going to say no.
Right. Even then, it's like I can't even. It's interesting to talk about. Like maybe in 6 years he does that kind of like, yeah, I'll go over for like, you know, a 6 months contract and I'll have one major match and, you know, I'll call it a career. It's tough to even see that. That's another thing. Maybe he seems like he's the more honorable guy, and honor is like a big thing with him, and I can't see him breaking any of that just to come to WWE for 6 months. I think he's so loyal to the brand of New Japan, and he doesn't want to leave.
Yeah, loyalty is a huge, huge deal. I mean, Tanahashi is in a position now. You know, he's a little bit older, but he's still wrestling as much as he possibly can. He's in great storyline right now with Ibushi, and you know he's doing stuff. So I can't picture Okada not doing a similar path to Tanahashi. So
exactly. So yeah, we'll see what happens. I guess we'll have to keep an eye on that, but. I guess if Triple H is gonna make it his life goal, all I can say to him is good luck, bud. You're going to need it.
Yes, you
I don't say that with disrespect. You are going to need luck in trying to get Okada to come here. We'll move on here. Topic number 2 in today. Oh boy, the Revival. They've turned down another WWE contract.
Mm-hmm. Yes, they have.
It sucks because Queen can't hear the sound effect. I just had to play The Price is Right. Yeah, God, what a mess it is becoming with that tag team in the WWE. I got here reports are circulating out that the Revival have both turned down yet another contract extension from the World Wrestling Entertainment. It was Brian Alvarez that actually reported on the Wrestling Observer Live that Scott and Dash asked for their release yet again just last week, which this was reported last week, so a week before. Dawson and Wilder wrestled last week's Friday Night SmackDown, so it's clear that the company has not granted their request. WWE has offered them a lot of money in an attempt to get them to stay, and a report by Cassidy Haynes of Bodyslam.net said that the recent offer has been turned down by them was higher than $700,000. It was higher than $700,000 offered that was given to Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson before they signed their new deals a few months ago. So they got offered more money to stay, and then Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, they said no. So clearly it's not about the money.
No, they're not happy.
No, they are not happy. And it's interesting because they don't expire at the same time. This is the big thing here. So Dawson's deal is set to expire in April, and Wilder, it has to wait until June to sign anywhere else since WWE added some time, like they have been with these injury times to the end of these contracts of people that are leaving. I really don't like how they do that. I don't know. It's my opinion. I actually hate that they do that. It kind of screws with the wrestler's schedule. Like they want to leave, and obviously they're not both sides are not agreeing. This is just any wrestler. Why do you have to add on extra time at the end? Why can't you let these guys go? I don't understand the benefit here. They're going to go anyways. What's the point of adding more time?
Yeah, it's kind of weird the way that all works, especially if you add more time and they just stay home. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like they're not even doing anything. Right. Obviously, they would like to leave, and they're not being allowed to. I don't know wrestling contracts super well, right? I'm not a contract.
Yeah. Neither of us are.
I'm not. That's not my thing. But I would assume that it has to do with the nature of this type of contract. When you say, I'm going to wrestle for you for X amount of days, and then you don't do that, that's the only thing that I can think of to say, well, you still owe us 30 days under the contract. You know what I mean? Yeah. Something like that. It's not, I'm just giving 30 as an example, but as like, this is what you owe us because you were out injured. I think of it as like you were out sick, but you just have to make the days up kind of thing. Or like, when you go to school and you have snow days, you still have to make them up at the end of the year, right? That's what I think about when I
Good
hear
analogy there.
Thanks.
Quickly, I just want to say hi to Tiffany, my other person in the chat. She says hi.
Hi.
But yeah, I do see what you're saying there, and that's probably it. It says here, at this point, it looks like fans will have to wait for Dawson Wilder to wrestle for another company, but all signs are pointing to AEW, where their fans are, and everyone's attributing this to Dawson hiring the same trademark lawyer as Cody Rhodes, where they've trademarked the name Shatter Machine. So
Shatter Machine.
Which is the name of their finisher currently, but I know that for everyone thinks that they're going to be called the Revival in AEW. I don't think that's going to happen because I'm almost certain that WWE owns the name the Revival, and I don't think they're going to let that go.
Yeah, probably not. Definitely not if they're going to AEW. They're not getting any.
Yeah, exactly.
That'll be a hard no.
Yeah, I would assume Shatter Machine is either their trademark to keep the finishing move for them once they make the jump, or maybe I've seen people say maybe they're going to be called Shatter Machine. That's a weird tag team name, Shatter Machine.
That is very weird.
Yeah.
Shatter Machine. I mean, something machine would work because, as far as technical wrestling tag teams go, they're the top, tippity top, those two. And I don't know, I wish they would do something else. Shatter Machine.
Yeah, and I can sit here, we can sit here and say it's weird names, but we've seen AEW do some weird name stuff before, so it could fit the AEW way of naming stuff. But
you're not wrong.
Yeah, so
That's very true.
We'll have to see. It looks like if we do see the Revival or Shatter, aka Shatter Machine, in another company, it probably won't be until the summertime, which is fine. That's I think we can wait till then. AEW's got enough people right now that's getting them over. So
sure.
Eventually, though, I would love to see the story of how that's going to play out. We know the history of the Revival with BTE before the Revival were in WWE, and we all can assume that they're going to continue some sort of rivalry with the Young Bucks as soon as they get into AEW. So
I hope we get a shirt, Kyle, that says the double Fs or double Rs. Which one was it?
I think it was double F. I'm pretty sure it was
double Fs. It was double Fs, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it just needs to be a callback to being the elite. That's what I need in my life.
Yes. I almost can say, I don't make the t-shirts, but I can almost assume that they will have that t-shirt.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll finally know what it means.
Right?
Finally.
Yeah, it was double A. I'm almost certain it was double FTR. If Tiffany's in the chat and she's listening, you can let us know. Tiffany,
tell us.
You binged. You know. Almost certain it's double FTR. But yeah, so we'll see what happens to Dash and Dawson going forward, and I don't know whether he has plans with them going forward, if they're just going to make them stay home or they're just going to put them on TV in some capacity, but we'll have to see.
Yeah. We'll wait and find out, bud.
Mm-hmm. So we'll move on here. This is going to be sort of I wrote all my opinions down for this one. This is more of like an opinionated topic here. So all signs are pointing towards, but things could change. Things always change in the WWE. They always could change last minute. But all signs are pointing to right now, currently, that Bray Wyatt, or AKA The Fiend, is going to face Roman Reigns at WrestleMania for the main event, the Universal Championship. Mm-hmm. So this is going to be, again, guys, this is going to be more an opinion topic. So if this does happen, this is what my opinion is on the situation. There's no news headings for this one. I really do feel like a main event match with Roman and Bray is not and shouldn't be your selling point for this year's WrestleMania. I think there's a lot more out there that could boost up for a WrestleMania that they sure need to boost up even more than ever now with other companies that are really hot right now, aka AEW, New Japan, even Impact. Like they're a lot of our companies are getting a lot of steam lately. So you're gonna you have to build a WrestleMania that's gonna overshadow everybody. As much as a lot of WWE, kind of the shills out there that want to say that, Roman's kind of changed the fans' reaction. I kind of hear a little bit of a different reaction. It's just, okay, again, this is just my opinion out there. It's always bad when I say it's my opinion out there. I try to fine line when I say it's my opinion and it goes out there and people are like jumping down your throat, but that's okay.
That's all right.
And I read different remarks online, and I'm not talking about the ones that have, and I'm talking about the people that have the Roman Reigns face in their pictures and their name is like Roman is the best. I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about the regular people. Those people are obviously gonna cheer for Roman Reigns,
right?
And I'm not saying Roman's not a top guy in the company at this point, and where he is right now, he is a top guy in the company. I'm saying simply him versus The Fiend needs to be saved and built up at a later date. Maybe not this WrestleMania in particular. I'm not feeling it right now. It doesn't feel like a top WrestleMania match. Now, you're probably asking then, what would be the main event of WrestleMania versus The Fiend? Well, I personally think it's the proper time for The Fiend to answer someone's call on his door knocking, and that's Aleister Black. I actually think The Fiend and Aleister Black would be... Yeah, if you're going to try to get... I mean, you have to do something with Aleister Black, because right now he's fading away fast. And if you don't put him in some sort of top marquee match, you're going to lose him, and you're going to lose the fire behind Aleister Black. And I know they're still high on him because they still keep making these vignettes of him waiting for someone to like knock on his door. So they still love the guy, and they're just... I think they're just doing this in... What am I trying to say here? They're doing this in the meantime until they find something for him. And I think The Fiend at WrestleMania should be that thing for him, because the story that they could build with an Aleister Black and The Fiend is gold. I actually would love to see that. I think, in my opinion, I think they should set up and have Black win, or they should have set up and have Black win would have won the Royal Rumble. Maybe cut a promo in his dark room saying that he shall wait for the champion to come knocking at his door to challenge him at WrestleMania rather than him picking the champion. And that's where Bray Wyatt or The Fiend would answer that call. Or they could have continued with Drew winning the Royal Rumble and then at least make Aleister Black look a little bit stronger in the Rumble if he would. I don't remember. Was Aleister Black even in the Rumble?
Yes, he was towards the end.
So maybe make him look a little stronger for that case to set up a match against the Universal Champion at WrestleMania, so he has some build behind him. It also doesn't help that since being called up from NXT, he really hasn't done anything except for a brief stint with Ricochet teaming up with him, which I thought was awesome. Black has really done nothing on the main event to, be pushed towards the Universal title shot. Right now it doesn't make sense. So they would need to have done something. I think these two would have an excellent match at WrestleMania. These two would tear it down. I think both styles would work, and it would be built based on promos, because I think just from the promos we've gotten with Black in that room, which I'm kind of on board a little bit with, I think they just need to tune it up a little bit. If you did that plus what we've seen from The Fiend and Bray Wyatt and his, the Firefly Funhouse, I think both of these could mesh very well for a WrestleMania build. And I think the crowd would actually get very, very behind an Aleister Black and The Fiend WrestleMania. Like, could you just imagine, like, maybe the Aleister Black was in the ring and he had a match, and then he just, he cuts another promo saying, like, he's still waiting for someone to knock on his door, and all of a sudden the lights go out and The Fiend comes out. The crowd would go absolutely ape shit for whatever town they're in. And the people will go nuts.
Yeah, they would. The only problem that they face is that they have Aleister on Raw and The Fiend on SmackDown.
Yeah. So
they need a way to make that happen. And I think if they had booked him to win, he was my dark horse to win, actually. If they had booked him to win, it would have been a very easy transition. Yeah. Super easy. They could have done the door thing like you had just said, or he could have just showed up on SmackDown looking for the door, and he looks right at the door for the Firefly Funhouse, and then starts laughing, does his thing, right? So they could have made that storyline, but they didn't. They went in a different direction. I think they could have gone with that, though, because the Drew Brock thing was already there. I don't think he needed to win the Rumble in order to make that match happen anyway. I'm glad they did, though. I do like Drew a lot, and I like where they're going to go. But for me, I don't know if Aleister Black and The Fiend is going to happen this year. It's going to happen one day. Yeah. I think it's going to be excellent. It needs to be on a big stage because the two of them together, just the personalities and the gimmicks and the presence alone, I think would completely tear the house down. But yeah, I don't think it's going to be this year. I wouldn't be surprised if it is Roman. He's been out of the title picture for a long time, and that's unusual. So it seems like he is going to go back in. However, it is a little bit of a short feud build. We have a couple months now to Mania, just under 2 months now. So I hope that they make a good choice. Daniel Bryan could be an easy one because they've had the feud going. They just had that little strap match. I wouldn't mind it either. I know that they've had two before, but this could be the rubber match, and they could do it at Mania. And it would be an easier story because they have all that history.
Right.
And then the Fiend can move on. If they want to put Roman back in, they put Roman back in. But I too would love Alistair versus the Fiend. I also would love Demon Finn versus the Fiend, which I know he's gone now because he's back to being Prince, which is amazing, and I never want that to change. I love you, Finn. But someday I would like that too.
Right. Yeah.
Try not to be greedy, Kyle, but I can't help it.
I know. I just and like you brought it back to like the Drew McIntyre. Because of that whole elimination thing, they could have just built that match off of that because that was an epic moment and the crowd went absolutely nuts, and it was just such a insane moment after what Brock had did in that first half of the Rumble. You could have built that WrestleMania match on that, but again, like you said, I love what they did for Drew. It was a big moment for him, and it was a long overcoming moment for him after the years he spent in the WWE and then leaving and then coming back. It was such a feel-good moment, so I see why they did that as well. It's really tough, right? When you have so many people that they could use, it's almost like they had too many eggs in the basket at one point, and it's almost tough to choose how you're going to build your WrestleMania picture. And oh man, I would love to see. I know me
it's in
the
too.
back of my head. I'm like, I really just want to see these two go at it because I just know I would be hyped alone on the promos they would do. Just for these two heading into a Mania match. So we'll see. I mean, if they do if they do Roman and Bray, I really hope they do. I really do a good job with the build because it's going to be tough. I hate how they have this super showdown in between. I think that's taking a lot out of the WrestleMania build.
Yep.
There's going to be matches put on that card that have nothing to do with WrestleMania, and it drives me nuts.
I know.
But it's the Saudi Arabia money anyways. It's a topic for another day.
Sure is.
We'll move on here. Next topic here. And this is an interesting one because of this was an Instagram post that made this around in the news feed. Could we possibly see none other than Elite C3? Wouldn't that be something? AKA EC3. So yes, if you're wondering out there, EC3 is in fact alive. He sure is. But this time appearing in a hilarious Instagram picture of none other than Le Champion, AEW champion Chris Jericho. Yes, I said that right. And it is a hilarious picture because Jericho is being his usual self in the picture, and then EC3 has like the most deer in the headlights look ever. He looks like he's a couple of wobbly pops deep too. So,
oh gosh.
The main thing that's interesting to take from this picture, a note to take from this picture, is whether is Jericho trolling or is he being serious about what he put in the caption? And it's something to note and to look out for in the future. So here's the caption. He puts, "Great chat with the real EC3 tonight in Orlando." I'm assuming he recorded an episode of Talk is Jericho with him. That's probably where we're getting that from. But then he puts this, "Big things coming in the future for this talented brother." Then he tweets at All Elite Wrestling. Now, this is so tough for me to take anything said or put in that caption as trolling because, I don't know if he's trolling or not. But the thing is, I would say he wasn't trolling if he had just wrote at All Elite Wrestling or used AEW in some sort of like pun. But he legitly tagged the company in the post.
He did. Yes, he did.
It worries me because clearly someone in WWE is going to see that and is going to see this because EC3 is still under contract. I don't think Jericho's the type of person that posts something without, consent of EC3. Like, I'm going to post this with tagging All Elite, by the way. Are you okay with it? I'm sure he would have said, "Oh yeah, I'm okay." So let's talk about it. Would EC3 even be a good fit in AEW right now?
To be honest, I haven't seen I haven't seen the man wrestle in so long, I don't even know. And
that sucks because I know it's to do with creative who really didn't know what to do with him, and you know, stuck him in main event forever after being called. I don't even know why they even called him up.
Don't even bother. Leave him where he was. Jeez.
Yeah. And then he got hurt.
Yeah, then he got hurt, and there's that issue, which never helps anybody, of course, as we know. Especially in WWE, you go out for a little while, unless you're one of the big ones. It's tough. But, you know, MJF kind of holds that character right now, that 1% thing.
Yeah.
That's kind of where that's living. Not the same gimmick, obviously, but, you know, that whole vibe is already taken. So I'm kind of wondering what they would even do with him.
Right.
And for me, AEW's male roster, I feel like is really full already right now. And the people that are coming over, like Jeff Cobb that got announced, you know, last night,
right.
To the rumors of other people making an appearance, former WWE people as well. I kind of wonder, where's his place? Where would he go? What would he do if he was to join AEW? And it obviously would need to be a full change, character, all of that. Right. I think he has a lot of potential and a lot of talent, and he's obviously not being utilized at all.
No.
But I just wonder, where would he fit right now in the current layout of what AEW is doing? That's my kind of question. What do you think?
Yeah, and it's also tough to say that, okay, so we can say, okay, how about he just goes back to NXT? Well, NXT right now is so jam-packed. Like, I don't think he even has a spot on NXT. Like,
yeah.
I really think right now in the WWE, it's a shame. I don't think he has a spot currently right now. Unless one opens up down the line, he's kind of just going to be stuck in, you know, catering, put it into terms, and half main event. And it kind of sucks because I think there's a lot of potential in the guy. I was ecstatic when I seen him in NXT, and I was there at TakeOver New Orleans for his debut in that ladder match, which is amazing.
Yep.
So, God, I was just so upset to see that. Oh man, he got called up, and then nothing came of it. And I
know.
I thought they could do so much. They could start like teasing like prior things, like bringing up like TNA things, and God, it was there and then it was gone, and it's driving me absolutely bonkers. Him and if I could picture him in AEW, the only places I could picture him would, I mean, right now it's too big of a group, would be he would have to join. He would be a part of the Inner Circle, or I could see him fitting. You brought up MJF in his little tiny stable he's got there as a third member.
With him and being next to Wardlow was the only spot that I thought he could even go right now. Yeah.
And that's if he did. And even then,
if he even did. I don't know. I feel like EC3 was in the whole WWE is going to take everybody and move everybody so they can't go anywhere else debacle.
Right.
And I feel bad for the guy. I do. Yeah. I don't ever like to see anybody unhappy in their job.
No.
And that, you know, wrestling and otherwise, it makes me sad to see people that are just not getting the chance to do what they want to do. And in that case, for me, I would leave. You know, if you're not enjoying what you're doing and you're not happy with your circumstance and you're not able to change it, right? And you've done whatever you can do, then you should go. But I agree with your thing about tagging AEW in Jericho's post, by the way, what you said earlier.
Yeah.
That's not accidental. So I'm like, oh, because like, can he really even go on Talk Is Jericho?
That's what I mean too.
Isn't there a whole thing right about all that? If he's under contract, he can't even really go on the show
unless they've recorded an episode to be released at a later date.
Unless they've recorded it later.
You
know, or like to save for later. I mean,
I didn't think about it. I totally forgot about that. See, this is why I brought her on. She's knowledgeable. She knows her shit.
That's what I'm here for, buddy.
Anyways, guys, we're going to move into the main topic here, and that is the heading of this episode. As you can see, the Wednesday Night Wars so far. I did a little bit of stat checking just for this episode, so I'm going to go over the quick stats here, and then we'll talk about it. And this is counting this week's record as well, so that actually the viewership just came out not too long ago, and I was able to get it into the notes. AEW's current record against NXT. So guys, don't take this with a grain of salt. Like, don't take this too seriously. I'm just going over what the Wikipedia facts are. I'm not actually. This doesn't make what show is a good show and what show is a bad show. I'm just going over the stats. So AEW's record against NXT right now is 15-3-1 for going by weeks. NXT 3-15-1, obviously. AEW's highest viewership rating was on their debut episode, which was 1.4 million. NXT's highest viewership rating was actually not on that first week or the week before. It was on November 22nd. It drew a viewership rating of 916,000. So that was pretty close to 1 million for them. The lowest viewership rating for AEW was 663,000, which was on the November 27th edition and of 2019, obviously. And NXT's lowest viewership was 558,000 on January 1st, the New Year's Eve episode. Current champions right now in AEW are Chris Jericho, Kenny and Hangman for tag team, and Nyla Rose for the women's championship. She just won it this week. And NXT current champions are... Oh, man. So I wrote this down, and I'm like, wait a minute. I think I'm right. I went back and forth, and what I didn't do was fact-check myself. So if I get this wrong, you guys can bell shame me. NXT World Champion, Adam Cole, obviously. Women's Champion, Rhea Ripley.
Correct.
Tag Team Champions, O'Reilly and Fish. Am I right?
Yes.
Are they still? Okay.
They're still. Yep. You're good. Okay. You're good. Keep going.
I'm like, I haven't caught up on NXT in a while. I'm like, oh my God, did they lose their titles? I didn't fact check, and I'm like, I'll be okay.
You're fine.
I'm like, I'll have a co-host. I'll be all right. Some other interesting stats. So NXT moved to 2 hours, 1 hour on USA Network, 1 hour on the WWE Network. I think it's still the same.
Yes.
And then AEW, yes. And then AEW is 2 hours on TNT Live with the picture-in-picture commercial breaks. NXT adding in some back main roster talent to bolster the roster, such as Finn Balor and the Fashion Police, with the one-time exception of an appearance by Kevin Owens at TakeOver War Games, which is really cool, and I always go back and watch that video because that was my favorite. And then AEW building new talent what they've been doing was building new talent like Darby Allin, Jurassic Express, etc., while making a mega star out of Jon Moxley. So those are the quick facts for the Wednesday Night War so far. So let's just talk about it, Queen. What have you been thinking of this Wednesday night rivalry going head to head basically each and every single week?
It's a lot of fun. Wednesdays are my favorite night of the week. Mm-hmm. I have trouble getting through. I don't watch SmackDown, period, ever.
Yeah.
Luckily for me, my co-host over at DYWTSB, Mort, does the Mort Report, and it's SmackDown in 5 minutes. So that's how I figure out what happens.
Oh, there you go. In 5 minutes. In
5 minutes. It's amazing.
Wow.
So, we do that, which is great. And Raw, I watch, and I have trouble. A lot of times getting through it. But the best part about Wednesday nights is these two shows going head to head. I've always watched NXT on Thursdays, always, no matter what, because I used to record on Wednesday nights anyway. Mm-hmm. So I would never be able to catch it live. So I would always watch Thursday after work, which is what I still do. And I watch AEW live. It's been a lot of fun. I love both shows for two completely different reasons. And I've been enjoying it. The only thing I don't enjoy, Kyle, is the actual war mentality that a lot of people have on Twitter and on podcasts. I just wish that people would say, cool, like, you like that, I like this, it's fine. It makes it sometimes hard to come online and like live tweet and stuff because people are going at it for real. And I'm like, dude, it's great. Wrestling is drawing combined. Like if you like ratings or whatever and you want to stick to that, great. Look at them, add them together because that's how many people watch wrestling on Wednesday nights.
Yep.
How dope is that?
Exactly. And for a show, even one of them being... And I'm talking about NXT.
A brand new show in AEW. And NXT, which was on the network, who finally came on to cable television USA. And they're holding their own and doing very well. I don't know. That's just my opinion, Kyle. Mm-hmm. What do you think about it?
I do agree with some people take stuff way too seriously on Twitter, which is shocker. But I don't understand how it's tough. Again, like you said, it's tough to go on Twitter or social media for that matter and try to say something about it, and then you just get jumped down by these other people who have that war mentality. It's not exactly war. When I say the Wednesday night wars, it's just that's what it's been titled. I don't actually think it's a Wednesday night war. I think it's just two shows that are, they're on at the same time. Obviously, AEW is not competing with the WWE. They've said it multiple times. They come out multiple times saying that they're the alternative. They're just showing you an alternative style to what you're used to on other programs, not just including WWE. They're talking about other companies as well, like in New Japan or Ring of Honor or at Impact. They're trying to be that alternative to what you're seeing, and they're sticking to it. Like they're all about, they are focusing more on storylines lately, but they came out of the gate focusing on the wrestling in the ring. They wanted to put out an, pun intended, elite product. Like that was their main focus, whereas other companies like the WWE, they focus on the entertainment factor more than other things like the presentation and a little bit more into the storyline rather than what AEW's main focus is. So it's just two different companies doing two different things on at the same time, and there's no reason at all that you can't enjoy both. Or if you don't like one, then don't watch one. You don't have to go online and rip on the people who do enjoy it.
Amen. Preach on it.
What benefit are you getting from going on and doing that? I sit there and wonder sometimes, and I read them like, what? How do you get satisfaction out of this? Like, who cares? If this person is going on and saying that they like this about this company, who cares? If they're going on and saying they don't like this thing about this company, fine. They're entitled to their opinion. They're not telling you to go in and comment and rip them apart and, destroy their manhood, and then just gets carried away. And you start seeing other crap, and it's like, okay, where did this conversation even go to?
Right?
Now it's not about wrestling anymore. Now you guys are just like ripping on each other's display pictures or pulling up old pictures from their past, and it's just like, come on, guys, let's take it down a notch.
No, relax. It's wrestling. Just enjoy it. If you don't enjoy it, then you don't need to watch it. Or if you want to provide constructive criticism, be our guest. That's wonderful. Nothing's perfect in this world.
No, like both sides have had their negatives. Like we've seen it on both sides of the and that's what makes companies great, that they see the negative and they build on it, and we get to watch them build on that negative, and then we get the satisfaction of seeing them fix those negatives and go, oh my god, like this is why we love what we're watching, because they take what we don't like and change it and get better. Like the companies get better. NXT has gotten better ever since going live on USA Network. AEW's gotten better ever since going live on TNT. Like both out of the gate were, they had their grades, but there was a lot of there are a lot of things you could have nitpicked, but they've gotten better over. And then right now it's, again, Wednesday night is the wrestling night of the week. And it's crazy to say that with shows like Monday Night Raw, who has been like the longest reigning wrestling show ever, and SmackDown, it's back on Friday nights, and it's on Fox, and it's $1 billion deal, and there's all these things behind it. It's crazy to still think that Wednesday night is the overshadowing of both days. Yeah,
it is. And you know what? I think that's good for everybody involved. It's good for our Wednesday shows, and it's especially good for Raw and SmackDown. And I say that because they're not going to change fundamentally who they are, those two main shows, I don't think. But what I do think is they may take pause and go, okay, this is what's resonating with people. Let's see how we can maybe incorporate a little bit into what we do. Raw is the sports entertainment. NXT is my indie, quote unquote, vibe, right? And that's what's so endearing about NXT. But to your earlier point about seeing what's not working and fixing it, I really have to give huge hats off to AEW, because right now I think that they're the ones that are listening the most to what people have to say. And I know that they're new, and that's probably a product of them being new, right? But the fact that they hear people saying, I don't like this, I think this is not working, can we get rid of it? And they do. I mean, what more fan service can you possibly want? All we wrestling fans want in the world is when we see something we don't like, or we see something we do like, we want to see more or less of it. AEW has truly listened. Cody Rhodes said, nobody wants to see me with a title right now. And the main title. So guess what? I will never challenge again. The Nightmare Collective, not working. It was not working. Everybody on the internet, podcasts, chat rooms, all saying the same thing. What do? Got rid of it. I don't remember in recent history any wrestling company that on cable, okay, that has listened to their fans so quickly as AEW. Yeah. That's wild to me. Because growing up a WWE fan, you could bitch all you want. Ain't nothing changing for you.
Right.
You know what I mean? They're going to go with whatever they're going to go with, and that's it. They're going to come out and tell you that you're in charge, but you're not, right? Mm-hmm. And it's not to say that we're in charge of AEW. I don't mean it like that. I just mean that they truly are a promotion of their fans. And that reminds me a lot of like the indies. Yeah. Trying to get your attention, trying to give you things that you want and give you more of what you want. Yeah. So I just have to say hats off to that. I find that really commendable.
Yeah, exactly. And you brought up the Nightmare Collective. The way they did it too was such a smooth transition out of it. So it started with, it actually started online where Brandy was posting these therapy videos, which were showing that she had like a dual personality. Like she has her Nightmare Collective personality and her regular self. And both were coming out, and during those therapy sessions where the therapist was even the monkey, the monkey doll.
Yeah.
And then we seen her break, kayfabe and break out of her character, come down to the ring while Cody was getting those lashings and show true compassion for her husband and, give him the motivation to get up. And then there's that final therapy session episode where it showed her getting rid of that Nightmare Collective side of her. And we've seen her this week on commentary that she was back to her normal self. So I think they did kind of a smooth transition out of that. Mm-hmm. And then
plus her video that she posted on Twitter where she burned all of her Nightmare Collective stuff too.
That too. So I liked what they did with that. It was subtle. It was smooth. And you know what? I think you can't see it, but the fans do appreciate that indeed. So again, they'll go back to the drawing board with Brandy to see if she wants to try something else out, or I think for this time being she'll just be behind the scenes, maybe working on the women's division, and sometimes be Cody's valet whenever the time would need her and the story would need her to be out there. So yeah, I do agree with you with like the fan service that AEW is showing. It's crazy, and it was crazy to me to see it too. As I'm a lifelong WWE like watcher, and everything I wanted just never happened, and to see stuff like I would like in my head would complain about, but seeing changed on TV lately, it's like, well, okay, so I'm not the only one who thinks that. People have said it online and stuff, and they've actually listened to those people, which are the same people who think the same as I do. And they're changing it on the go. Like they'll change it as quick as the very next week. So
it's amazing. It's amazing.
It's good to see that. And for a company that is a major company, maybe not as big as WWE yet, maybe in the future they could possibly get to that level. It's going to be very tough for them. But for a major company with a major TV deal and a major TV show, for them to do that is huge in this day and age. And it's definitely like they've definitely set something unprecedented in this wrestling world and in this wrestling community for doing something like that. So again, we can give AEW props for doing that, and it looks like it's just getting better and better, that company. And they're not taking anything away from NXT. I've loved what NXT have done. I've been a massive NXT fan before AEW was even a thing. Like before they started. And in my end of my days of watching WWE constantly, I was a huge NXT mark. I was all over NXT. I loved it. I went to any takeover that was near here, any NXT live event that was near here. I was so about NXT because it was what I fell in love with. The wrestling was just top notch, and it was just amazing storylines. Like the whole beginning of the Ciampa and Gargano saga, like that was that's the best. I still say it to this day. I don't care what company it is. Gargano and Ciampa is still the best storyline in the last decade. Like, it's so good.
Wow. Yeah. I like you, feel that NXT, I was so in love with it when it first came out. I was like all in with them, pun intended. And I loved them so much because it was so different and new, and it was unexpected from WWE. It felt and still feels like a completely different thing. Is it a WWE product? Sure, you can see it all over it, but it feels different. Yeah. The vibe is different. You've been at NXT shows. You know how that crowd is. It's very different than going to a Monday Night Raw. And or even a takeover is very different than a mainstream WWE pay-per-view. And I just feel like what they have is so special, and they're kind of getting back to that a little bit for me right now. The fact that they have Mercedes Martinez and Shotzi Blackheart in NXT with Rhea Ripley and Shayna and Bianca Belair. The women's division there is so dang stacked and so much fun. It's so much fun. And then you have Undisputed Era, and then you get to Ciampa and Gargano. And you're right. Other than Kenny and Okada, that's the one. That's the one that I remember, and I will remember for such a long time from that decade. And it's like the character work, the actual wrestling, the way Ciampa can speak and his charisma. Ooh, I mean, you can't teach that at all. That is an innate skill that man possesses. The fact that he could come out with zero music. Do you remember when he came out with nothing?
Yeah.
And pull that off?
And just heat. Yeah.
Straight nuclear heat.
Yeah.
I love that, man. And I love what he's doing right now. He's coming for Adam Cole's throat. And by the way, what a meteoric rise for Adam Cole, baby.
Right.
From coming from the indies, saying goodbye to the elite. Literally on being the elite, getting killed.
Yeah.
And then
making his own elite group.
Making his own elite group.
Yeah.
It was fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, it's unbelievable. That stuff on NXT, plus the Velveteen Dream alone, if that doesn't sell you on watching NXT, I don't know what will.
Yeah. I'm such an Undisputed Era mark, by the way. Like, I have...
That music? Oh, my God.
To my right, you can't... no one can see it, but to my right on my shelf here, I have the first ever inline triple action figure from the Undisputed Era with their original shirts. And on top of it, I have my actual Undisputed Era wristband and snapback hat that I got when I first seen them at a takeover. It was just... I fell in love with them since the first day. Like, when they first came out with those shirts, I'm like, okay, yep, sold. They got me.
Bought in.
Bye.
Yep.
I'm with these guys. And then when they added Roderick Strong, I was jumping off my couch that when he turned Roderick Strong and he put that wristband on himself, I was like, holy shit.
I know.
I went nuts.
What a moment. What a moment that was.
And they did that against actually my second favorite person in NXT, and that's Pete Dunne. I freaking love Pete Dunne. The guy is amazing. He's so young. The guy has a massive future ahead of him. I think Pete Dunne has the potential to be one of the tops in WWE. He's got such an upside to him. It's crazy. So we'll see what happens with that. I love his tag team with the bro right now. The Broserweights.
I can't even with how good they are together, right? Who would have thought?
Right? It's like with Black and Ricochet. I don't think anyone would have thought that they would have been such a good tag team together. But they are amazing together in NXT. Even when they transitioned up to the main roster, they were really good together. Like they had so much chemistry right off the bat. It was nuts. Right. So,
so good.
Yeah. So again, not really a war, ladies and gentlemen. It's just basically a Wednesday night. I don't know how to put this. A Wednesday night rivalry. Yeah, and it's a Wednesday night that we can all sit down and watch wrestling and appreciate what's being shown from both companies and the builds from both companies. Because both companies are basically the same. Both have their TV shows. Both have basically 4 events a year that they build towards. And they both know how to do storylines. They're both showing amazing product in the ring. They're both building people that we want to see build. So it's just 2 different companies, but we get to sit down and enjoy to see what each company produces and shows us on a weekly basis. So you don't have to sit here and take in ratings to account to what you want to like. You like what you want to like. If you like both, great. If you like only one, that's awesome. You do you, boo. I'm going to take the line from you.
You, boo, boo. That's right, honey. You tell him, Kyle.
Anyways, I think that's about it, though. So that's it, guys. This episode of The Masters are Great. I do want to thank Queen for coming on, chatting some wrestling today. And I really do appreciate you coming here.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, definitely got to get myself on the Queen's Court one day. I'll be on there, guys. You'll see. The King and Queen shall return together.
Can't wait.
Other than that, guys, that's probably going to wrap it up for this episode of the Master's Degree podcast right here on the No Holds Barred Network, your source for all wrestling podcast content. and more. I want to thank my co-host today, the Queen of NE. Guys, go follow her on Twitter at the Queen of NE. I will leave a link to all her links down in the description below for you on the YouTube version of this podcast and the Spreaker version of this podcast. So go give a girl a follow, show her some love. I'm your self-proclaimed greatest host, Kyle Masters, your owner and CEO of the network and the host of the Master's Degree podcast. I'll see you guys next time for the next episode. Take it easy, and Queen, give us a send-off.
Honey, boo-boo babies, have a wonderful, great rest of your day, and thanks, Kyle.
No problem. Take it easy, guys.
There's something above water that takes